Imagine a 30-inch wide oil-coated pipe and you are suddenly pulled inside by rushing water. 5 people find themselves in this shocking situation, but only one survives to tell the world his unheard story.
Because everything inside me open and rescue. Everything inside me open and rescue was going on. Nobody was making an attempt to rescue me.
A GoPro camera attached to one of the men's suits records everything. The footage inside the camera will make your hands and feet tremble. Being stuck in a pipe filled with crude oil, 60 feet under the sea for 2 days. This was the situation between Christopher, Kazim, Yusuf, Rishi, and Fyzal. Only Christopher survived. The others died. Christopher had been a professional scuba diver for the past 10 years, and his job involved underwater inspections, welding, and moving objects from one place to another. Fortunately, Christopher got a job 8 months ago with an oil and gas company called Paria Fuel, which was just a 2-minute drive from his home. At Paria Fuel, Christopher's responsibility was to maintain the underwater pipelines that Paria Fuel used to transfer oil to ships. The pipeline was U-shaped, with vertical sections at both ends. These vertical sections protruded out of the water, and a 1,200-foot-long pipe lay on the seabed connecting the two sections. This pipe, larger than 2 cricket grounds, was about 60 feet deep in the ocean. One of these vertical sections was far out in the sea where ships would come and offload their oil. The oil would then flow down and through the 1,200-foot-long pipeline to the other vertical section. This second vertical section was near the shore where workers would extract the oil and transfer it to the ground for processing. When Christopher arrived, he found out that today he and his team had to dive underwater to maintain the pipeline. But the pipeline they had to work on today was quite special. It was called Berth Number 6. Paria Fuel had many underwater pipelines, but Berth Number 6 had not been in use since 2018, and it had been shut down for the past 4 years. Years ago, to close off this pipeline, they had placed some kind of foam cushions on both vertical sections and then filled them with air, making these sections airtight. One vertical section of this pipeline, which was far out in the sea, was above water, but the other vertical section, near the shore, was submerged underwater so that surrounding ships could pass without obstruction. They had placed a large habitat on this submerged vertical section, which contained a big air pocket. You can think of it like putting a tissue in a glass, turning it upside down, and then submerging it in water. The air inside the glass remains and the tissue doesn't get wet. The habitat was just like that, filled with air, and it was placed in the water near the opening of this vertical pipe. Today, when Christopher and his team had to activate this pipeline, they could swim into the habitat, remove all their diving equipment, and work on the pipe there. Their task today was to make this pipeline operational. What happened to them inside the pipe was terrifying and shocking. So let's know about this dangerous incident of paria diving that leaves people breathless. The day was February 25th, 2022, in a coastal city called Point Pierre on the northern coast of South America, where a company named Paria was located. The 5 people who faced this accident worked for the Paria company, taking care of an oil pipeline. On that day, they were working in a part of the pipeline that had been closed for a long time. It was a U-shaped pipeline, where oil tankers unloaded their crude oil, known as Berth 5. The crude oil then traveled through this pipeline to Berth 6, where a refinery was located, and the oil was refined. That day, their job was to remove water from the upper parts of the pipeline so they could stand there comfortably with their equipment and work. Air plugs were also installed to stop hydrocarbons from escaping. Additionally, a special cabin called a habitat's bell was used for work on the pipeline. The habitat's bell creates a dry space by maintaining air pressure inside the pipe so that people can work properly. Their job was to go inside the pipe and remove the air plug. But as soon as they removed the air plug, a disaster occurred. A strong water storm hit, pulling them forcefully into the pipe. The storm was so powerful that within 90 seconds it pushed them down 20 feet and 120 feet away inside the pipe. You will see the footage of this event. It starts with some light before everything goes dark. Since the pipe was not straight, they found relief as the 5 people got stuck in a small air pocket where they could breathe, but they had no idea what had just happened. The water flow was so strong that some people even broke their bones. Also, nothing could be seen inside the pipe. The surprising thing was that the air they had was what caused them to get stuck in the pipe. Technically, the pipe should have contained 1,200 barrels of oil, but it was less, and high-density air was built up there. When they removed the air plug, the high-density air inside the cabin mixed with the low-density air and created a huge storm that pulled everything toward the water.
A tornado, everything just spinning and beating you up, and it happened so fast. I couldn't react. The only thing I remember able to do was cover my head, like in the fetal position. After that, all I remember, I didn't even remember actually getting pulled in the pipe. I just remember going hurled through the pipe at unbelievable speeds. I couldn't hold my breath no longer, man. Truth. When you're holding your breath for too long, after a while, your body, your lungs just fight. Yeah, your waist closed, you see a noise. Your body suffering to pull air. An unbelievable nightmare. Your eyes burning. Every time you try to open your eyes, it's burning. You're pitch black, you can't see nothing. Your throat burning. Your ears ringing. Your body sore. And at that point, I tell myself I was going to dead.
They had only one way out, which was the same way they came in, meaning they had to go back to berth 6. Since nothing was visible inside the pipe, they didn't know where to go. If they took the wrong path, they would end up at berth 5, which led straight to death. After some thought, they decided to go in the direction where their heads were pointing because they had no other option. They could not stay inside the pipe for long, but when they did this, they faced another problem. Because the pipeline was not straight, there were places where they could breathe, but in other areas it was just water. If they tried to swim underwater while holding their breath and couldn't find a place to breathe ahead, they could die instantly. At this point, Christopher and Fyzal decided to go ahead alone. Their plan was simple. They would go out alone and send help for the other 3. They move forward and get stuck in another air pocket where they find an oxygen tank. They realize they can stay underwater longer because of the oxygen tank in front of them. But the problem was, they couldn't see how much oxygen was left in the tank because it was dark. The oxygen tank was about to run out, but at that moment they hit something and it was another oxygen tank. This oxygen tank did not have a mouthpiece, which is the part you use to breathe oxygen. Because of this, they had to put their mouths into the opening of the oxygen tank, and at the same time crude oil poured into their mouths. Friends, crude oil is a black oil from which gasoline and diesel are made. If it gets into your mouth and eyes, it causes a lot of burning. By that time, Fyzal's oxygen tank had run out, and due to broken bones he was in great pain, so Christopher had to go ahead alone. After 2 hours of hard work, the tank hits another object, which was a pipe band. Knowing this made him both happy and sad, because this could either be an opening for berth 6, where they could escape, or it could be an opening for berth 5, which was completely blocked. Because of the low water level in the pipe, swimming up and out was impossible. So this became another big worry. He started banging on the pipe loudly and making noise. At that moment, some rescuers heard his noise and threw a chain to pull him out. As soon as Christopher came out, the first thing he said was that his 4 friends were still inside the pipe and alive, and they needed help badly. The company's rescuers were about to help them, but the company did not allow them to go down because they did not have large enough oxygen tanks. If the rescuers went down, their lives would also be at risk. When Christopher heard this, he decided to go back to save his friends, but the company stopped him too. When Christopher explained everything, the rescuers began banging on the pipe loudly to figure out where their friends were. When the rescuers reached the other end of the pipe, they started hearing voices that the people inside were alive. Then they went to the spot where the 3 were. But when they pulled them out, they found that they were already dead. Only Christopher survived this day. Out of the 5 people, only 1 person survived who told the whole story of the incident.
due to its negligence. Even after such a big case, you will be surprised that a police inquiry was made against Paria Company. Still, they did not get any punishment, and the families whose members died in Paria Company were not given anything in the name of financial compensation. If you thought our video was good, then like and share this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more similar videos. Thank you.
I'm trying to come up. Chris, General. Yeah. Yeah. Right behind you, man. All right behind you? You're right behind me? Yeah. Ah. You don't know when you're trying to come up? It's not going up. Who making all that noise? Come on, all I mean, let's figure it out. We gotta go. We gotta start moving. Yeah. Where you at? I don't know. I'm trying to come up. Trying to come up. But don't worry, all is good. All is good, I'm gonna get Rishi this. I'm trying to come out. Huh? Who is that more than this? Yusuf? Oh, Yusuf? How long you have to walk before you meet Fyzal? You and Fyzal was together all the time? Right now we are together. Right now. Who else with you? We are Fyzal alone. Kaz with you? Right there. Right there where? Kaz, everything alright with you? No. Any limbs break? All legs. Your leg, alright. Fyzal, anything happened to you? Yusuf, anything happened to you? Yeah, boy. What happened?